we only have this one life, but there's a lot of life we can live. And Salesforce and having an intentional mindset financially, and not just living below your means for the sake of it, but having a plan, can get you to a place where you can truly experience much more to life than normally I think we give ourselves the permission to do so. I have had a wide and varied life experience, work experience. So I have a degree in French and Spanish. I served in the British Army OTC during college, and did Nordic biathlon for the British Army during that time. Took a gap year after high school and traveled in South America, and living in igloos and snow holes in Patagonia. And then I ended up in nonprofit world, more in the leadership development side of things for about 8 years. So I did a lot of strengths-based, like the Strengths Finder kind of coaching and consulting and employee engagement type work, and basically building a lot of volunteer teams, and really the business end of the nonprofit space. And then in about 2014, I pivoted out of the nonprofit, trying to get into the for-profit space. And I was around the Pacific Northwest for a while for a large global education company. I did commercial real estate, working with dentists, helping them get out of medical dental buildings, and I did commercial construction. So I was a foreman, building apartment complexes in Seattle. And then we moved back to Colorado Springs, and I did my own consulting for a while in the employee engagement, team development space. And then for the last several years leading up to Salesforce, I actually have been working in a more custom CRM consulting place for sports. And so had that many years, these last few years of experience working with clients, translating their needs to translate to our developers of how to do that. So got to learn SQL and code and different things, but yeah, finding this Salesforce space now enables me to bring the business acumen piece, as well as the technical build and configure piece, as well as the soft skill people piece. And I love it. The end of 2020, I was realizing that with the current business I was, because I co-own it as well, the software side, was that it was getting to a point where I wasn't really as useful or as needed, and the team was doing what they needed to do and developing, and it's custom, and it's a lot of older technology, so it's kind of hard to change. But good clients and good business. But for me, I realized, man, I want to pivot because I have this 10-year-ish plan, while the kids are still at home, still in school, to get to this place of financial independence that a lot of us kind of talk about. And I discovered Choose-FI back in 2020. So 2020 was about getting the finances in order. And then the end of 2020, I was like, okay, I need to find, how can I pivot my skills, my experience, all of this varied stuff into something that I can really, one, love and enjoy for the next many, many years, and two, that will give me a skill set that is valuable and sought after, that I can pivot to working very part-time if I want to, when I want to, in several years. And that's, I'd heard Bradley on Choose-FI, and I bumped into a friend of mine who works at Salesforce in Mexico, and he told me some stuff about it too, and I just thought, yeah, no, that makes sense. And so 5-day challenge, done, signed up, done, and then I got certified about 10 weeks later. Yeah, so for me, I signed up for the 5-day challenge in February, kind of mid-February 2021. So 5-6 days after that, jumped into the full program, dived straight into a study group. and was part of a study group for 10-ish weeks, working through the fairly aggressive pacing. And then early May 8th is when I was certified. Thankfully, I kind of did it first time. We're really grateful for that. And then from that, I actually went to the UK for 6 weeks, spent some time with my family, but also at the same time did the volunteer project with some people from Talent Stacker, and then came back, and I had applied to go to the Trailblazer Connect Career Fair in July. And actually, as I was doing my due diligence and researching these companies, because there was about 30 of them there, I knew I was not going to have enough time to talk with them all. So I kind of shortlisted 7 or 8. And as I was going through, looking at those websites, I found the company that I now work for, and I thought, wow, this is where I want to be. So I just reached straight out, even before the career fair. Had a call the next day, had another call the day after that, and got started on the skills assessment even before the career fair happened. But I did still go to the career fair. You got to play your cards, and so I ended up interviewing with 2 or 3 other consulting firms during the same time period. And then 3 weeks later, on August 10th, 2021, is when I got the offer, and I started September 1st. We had to do basically a demo, somewhat not basic, but it's a very limited requirements on the sales org, and you just had to kind of go and build it against their requirements, but kind of take it as you will, as far as the effort you put into it, the time you put into it, without overbuilding, but really trying to think through, because this is a consultancy, not just how can you build, but how are you consulting? How are you thinking about if they are a true client, how would you present this? And when I did it, it was a live demo with the COO. Typically, I think they've moved towards sending in videos because so many applicants and things. But that was the process, and I mean, I loved it. I spent 20 hours on the thing, and because I really wanted to work here, and so I was going through the interview process with 3 or 4 other companies at the same time, but this was kind of my top pick, and so I wanted to put in the effort. And in fact, this was the only company that asked me to do a technical actual assessment where I had time to actually build something. I had a half-hour chat with the CEO on the Monday, and then the next day, I think it was the next day, and a couple of days later, got another email asking to schedule, basically saying, hey, we want to offer you a job. Please schedule a 60-minute another chat with the CEO. And so it's actually more of a slide deck presentation, going over the kind of the values of the company and benefits, and all of the bits and pieces, opportunity to ask questions. And so that's kind of was the final piece of the process after about 5 different interviews / assessments and things. Do it now. I waited, until February. I could have potentially started a bit earlier, but there's always excuses. There's family stuff, work stuff, and how much time, and all the cost, or any of those things. But the sooner you start, the sooner you will be gainfully employed doing something that is unique and interesting, and it will give you, a lot of freedom in your life. And so I think I would have told myself just to, hold on to that confidence. Like, you are enough, that your whatever your prior skill set, prior knowledge, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you have done before. Getting some skills that tons of people that I meet, I've never even heard of Salesforce still, and that was my case. I had not really heard of Salesforce until, beginning of 2021. And here I am, like it's my new career. And so believe in yourself, hold on to that confidence. And the biggest piece is just keep going. I mean, it sounds kind of arbitrary and kind of like everybody says it, but just, work the plan and the plan will work. You just follow the steps, do the badges, don't do it on your own, get involved in a study group. It's amazing how impactful that is, having other people that, you are going to be, you're not going to be top of the, not going to be the head of the pack. You're going to be somewhere at the bottom or below, and you're going to learn from each other. And there's something, you learn so much more. This is just a fact. You learn so much more by encouraging and teaching other people what you know, and then them teaching you what you don't know. And if you can just do that, again, for me, it was 10, 11, 12 weeks because I had, some time, and some people do it much faster and some people take a bit longer, but that doesn't matter. It's like, in the grand scheme of things, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever it may be for you, like you're going to look back a year from now at next Thanksgiving or next Christmas or next Easter, whenever you're starting this process, and think, wow, I am so glad that I did it then. And didn't procrastinate for another year, because you don't know what can happen another year. And man, crumbs, I look at my career now, think, wow, in a year, I expect to, hopefully, get promoted or be doing different things. It's really exciting, like there's, this is a really fun career, and you will not regret taking that plunge. And again, this is going to do a little plug for Talent Stacker just because I believe in it, is that, yes, it does cost some money. And I know I've sent several people to Talent Stacker, as well as I managed to get people hired at my company, including somebody from my study group back from February, which is amazing, get to work together. But yes, it does cost some money, and I know this has been said before, but the reality is, if it helps you land that job 1, 2, 3 weeks earlier, then if you just do the math, then you would have by yourself, it's paid for itself, and for me, it's paid for itself multiple times over, because I would not have, without committing and saying, this is what I'm going to do, this is my study group, this is my study path, and what I'm going to be doing, and the super badges and all of these things. If I hadn't done that and been involved in the community online, I probably would have given up. Life would have gotten in the way, and work and stuff and kids and health and all of these things. But if you choose to do it and just keep doing it, I have a personal guarantee you won't regret it. I really want to just learn everything. I love to travel, and I just think I speak French and Spanish, and I dabble in Portuguese and Italian. My goal as a teenager was to become a polyglot. So like, I want to learn more languages, and it's not about just learning the languages, but the more languages you can speak, the more people you can interact with, and be with and help. And so as soon as we can, hopefully within say 10 years or so, I want to be able to do that slow travel, live in different places for 6 months at a time, get embedded into a community, and just give of my time. I'm very handy. I like to architect and build things. So I want to rebuild, old villas in Italy, and, chop down, make hiking trails in the Himalayas or whatever. Like I work on a fishing boat at 4 a.m. in a Mexican village. Like I just think there's so much life that can be, you only have this one life, but there's a lot of life we can live. And Salesforce and having an intentional mindset financially, and not just living below your means for the sake of it, but having a plan, can get you to a place where you can truly experience much more to life than normally I think we give ourselves the permission to do so.